We're here at a Cleveland house that is under permit for rehab. This is an old home, about 1880s style, and there's so many old homes in Cleveland, new homes being built, but there is a issue of fire safety that is of concern to so many Clevelanders. In fact, last week I had in court a defendant who was charged by the City of Cleveland Fire Department with not having a smoke detector. There was a fire and a gentleman died in the fire. So fire safety should be on the minds of everyone. And who do you think of with fire safety? Of course, the fire department, but also the state fire marshal. So we have Mitzi Hudak here, who is with the office of the state fire marshal.
Right.
Now, what do you do there, and what does the state fire marshal do, Mitzi?
All right, well, actually we have several different bureaus. I happen to be in the Fire Prevention Bureau, and we do public education, go out to schools, businesses, hospitals, nursing homes, any civic group or church group, and just talk to people about fire safety. We also do work with juvenile fire setters from the education standpoint. We need to let them know not how to build a better fire, but usually they're getting counseling as well. We do not handle any of that, but we educate as far as what to do if there is a fire and show them the consequences that there are, both physical, emotional, legal.
What we're going to do is go inside of this house and look at some of the systems and some of the places where fires occur, and also what someone needs to do and what they need to know if a fire occurs, how to get out of the house, how to safely get out of the house, and of course, how to prevent fire. So let's go inside and take a look. Candles, electricity, cause of fire. Kitchen, the way people use their stove can cause fire. What are some of the other things that people need to keep an eye out for?
You still really want to focus on smoking safety. Smoking is a huge problem. Make sure that when you're smoking that you have sturdy ashtrays that won't tip over easily. Make sure that if, say, you have people over, before you go to bed, check your couch cushions. Check your chair cushions, because things can smolder for a while and then flaming combustion and things are really
Even in this day and age, there are fires that are caused by smoking in the home.
Even though the standards have gotten better as far as upholstery. I was reading an article on like cotton batting as opposed to some of the polyfill and things like that. You still have a serious problem with that smoldering situation. Now there are a lot of people that are trying to say, well, let's work on getting that cigarette that it is not as easy to ignite things. And I mean, there was a huge article on that in Fire Engineering, NFPA Journal. And basic bottom line is you still have to be careful. Even when things have a fire retardant on them, with time that retardant can be minimized. But the biggest thing I'd have to tell people, please check your couch cushions and chair cushions before you go to bed.
Smoking in bed, smoking in an easy chair. I guess so many.
We don't even, they used to tell you don't smoke in bed. Now we tell people don't smoke where you're comfortable.
Right.
Because there's so many fires that start in the family room, living room area. Like you mentioned, the comfy chair. Maybe they'll have a alcoholic beverage or something. Doze off. And so now we actually tell people, it's best to smoke where you're not comfortable, standing up somewhere. It's just safer. Same situation, people have a false sense of security when they're smoking outside. For some reason, they think they can always just discard your cigarette butt wherever. And there have been numerous mulch fires. There are obviously grass fires. It's a real good idea in your home outside to keep leaves to a minimum, keep a lot of that away from your home, because those are problems. Even parking over, fires have started with people parking their cars over piles of leaves.
They set on fire.
Yeah.
Well, even smoking around the gas pumps, I am surprised and shocked by the number of people who smoke around gas pumps while they're pumping gas.
Right. Well, we had a situation of an individual who was smoking outside, and as she had done many times before, she discarded her cigarette butt in the mulch, went inside with her two small children, They went inside, the mulch caught on fire, the vinyl siding caught on fire, and really, vinyl siding burns. Traveled up, got into the attic, into the void spaces, what they call interstitial spaces. They had flashover in that house. Those people were so lucky to get out alive. Thankfully, they had their working smoke detectors.
And it all started with smoking outside and the cigarette butt went into
Yes.
the mulch.
Absolutely.
So one thing does lead
Yeah.
to the next.
Mulch catching
unfortunately.
fire, bushes, vinyl siding. When you're emptying your ashtrays, you should always empty them in a non-combustible container. And you know, it's a good idea actually to pour water in. And even if the ashes have been sitting here for like 2 weeks, okay, get the mindset that you should always empty them in a non-combustible container. I tell people put water in and stir it around. Can I tell you a little funny story?
I've seen many people that are in that easy chair putting their cigarettes out in their beer can.
Oh yeah, well, you know, if there's a little liquid in there, I guess go for it, but then I wouldn't dump it into the wastebasket afterwards.
And what story were you going to tell us?
Well, I was doing a assisted living program for senior citizens, and this one dear little lady said, well, not only do I put it in a non-combustible container, I always put water in and stir it around. I found out later on she'd been married to a firefighter for 50 years, so I said, do you want to go on programs with me? She was really cute.
What's this?
Okay.
What's this? And what's this?
All right. This was a clock radio. Okay. This was a phone base and a camera. Just shows you the level of destruction that there is. When I show this videotape, I tell people, you know, does this look like it was in a fire? And they say, yeah. No, this was several rooms away from the fire.
This is away from the flame of the fire.
Absolutely, absolutely. People don't realize how hot smoke can get. When you have a fire start in a room, okay, and bear in mind an ordinary combustibles fire doubles in size every 6 to 30 seconds, depending on what's burning. So that's going fast anyway. But the combustibles that are around that flame start to decompose, and they actually give off combustible gases, okay? So things are going fast. You're getting this enriched environment with these combustible gases, and then you know, all of a sudden you can have flashover in a room, and flashover in the room is as you keep getting more and more combustible gases, all of a sudden that room is an inferno. And that can happen in less than 2 minutes, But people also need to know that as the smoke is generating throughout that building, because the smoke will go up and travel out, and it goes up as much as it can, travels out as much as it can, and starts banking down. But that smoke is very, very toxic. It's very, very hot. It can kill you 3 different ways. I tell people, you know, smoke is made up of carbon monoxide, products of incomplete combustion, and other toxic gases. Of course, we know the carbon monoxide kills you. You can be very seriously endangered in a room remote from the fire, because as the building is filling up with that smoke, with that carbon monoxide, as the normal oxygen level drops from like its normal 21% down to like 19%, you start getting very, very confused. If you're sleeping, you go into a deeper sleep. But if you're awake, you get very, very confused and dizzy. As it drops a little bit more, you actually lose muscular coordination. So it has happened that people have had a clear way out, and they've been too confused to be able to get out, or had lost that muscular coordination, because that carbon monoxide, which is the main proponent in the smoke, attaches to the hemoglobin in your blood and doesn't let the oxygen to your brain. And so that's why you're confused, and this happens. That's why we tell people, you know, the smoke kills you 3 ways. Yeah, it's the carbon monoxide, the toxicity, and fires burn a lot more toxic now than they used to because of all the synthetic products that we use, and that high heat. And in a room that's on fire very, very quickly, at my waist level, it gets to about 400 degrees. And if you breathe in superheated air at like 150 degrees, your lungs will singe and shut down and you will die. That's why they always tell you, stay low where the air is cooler and where the air is good. Now, don't do that like military crawl where you have your nose right against the floor, which some people think, because there are some toxic gases that hug at the floor too. That's why we tell people crawl like a baby if you have to crawl out of a room that's filling up with smoke.
So the smoke, besides the carbon monoxide, can also have heat.
Exactly.
And so it's as if you're being burned. You can be burned by the smoke.
Oh,
the intensity
absolutely.
of the smoke.
Absolutely. I always tell people, keep in mind water boils at 212 degrees, and very quickly in a room that's on fire gets, at my waist level, gets twice as hot as that. So that's why, you want to have the working smoke detectors on every level of your home, because the thing that is going to save people, well, first of all, a lot of people don't realize 75% of all the people that die in a fire, 75% is just from the smoke, okay? And, the working smoke detectors and the escape plans are what's going to save us. Most people die in their homes. Most people die at night. So every level of your home, you should have a working smoke detector.
And where do you put the smoke detector?
Well, you would put it, you don't want to put it like around where there would be a draft or anything, you want to make sure that it's like at a high point, because remember the smoke fills up at the high point first. We tell people every level of the